Hi there. Are you in STEM by chance?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Can you tell me your name and a little bit of what you do?
Sure. So my name is Claudia. I have a PhD in neuroscience. I'm currently a content creator, and I'm working with SCWIST as a science consultant.
Okay, amazing. Claudia, can you tell me, what does safety mean to you in the lab or workplace setting?
I think that's a great question. I think fundamentally it's having a trust in either the system, the people that you work with, and just in general, the broader academia. Let's say I'm going to speak from my academia lens. And I think safety really means having the trust that if you bring up an issue, it's going to be dealt with. It could also mean if you mess up an experiment, you don't feel bad about saying it. And ultimately, it's just that you know you'll be taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I hear that. And what does accountability in STEM mean for you?
I think accountability really means, especially in STEM, that if you bring up an issue, it's going to be dealt with and somebody is going to be taking care of it. I think a lot of times you bring up issues and it's kind of into the void. No one's really there to take care of whatever you're bringing up.
Yeah.
And I think accountability really just means taking action and being accountable for yourself on a personal level, but then also that, the lab or the institution that you work for is accountable for who they hire.
Yeah.
Both for safety purposes, so taking care of people that maybe have issues, and also, taking care of the people who are causing the issues and really having a pipeline to deal with that.
Right. Yes, I hear that. And what do you think are the barriers that prevent people from speaking up, especially around gender-based violence in these spaces?
I definitely think a main barrier is that history is seeing how things have been dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
And there's not really been pipelines in place to take care of serious gender-based violence issues, or even gender-based violent issues that are just microaggressions at first. I think another barrier is that a lot of times people don't feel safe enough to bring up the issues that they're encountering because they've seen in the past that nobody's taken care of it in the past.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to really change that moving forward.
Yeah. And if I can just have you elaborate a bit more, when you say they don't feel safe, can you say a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, so for example, if you've encountered an issue with someone in the lab, for example, and you tell somebody in authority positions and nothing happens, and it's kind of like, oh, well, you shouldn't bring that up because, this person brings a lot of money to the institution, or this person really has a high standing name and we can't do anything about it. So it's better to just stay silent.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge issue that's kind of everywhere. I don't think it's only academia. I think it's in industry. I think it's in kind of everywhere.
Yeah. That's a really good point. So what concrete changes would you make to see the differences happen in your workplace?
I think the first concrete change I would make in STEM is to make sure that women and diverse individuals are actually seen in positions of power, so that people who are not in these positions of power can see themselves in the authority figures, or in the board of governors, or the principal of the school, things like that. Number two is, I think, just having things really set in place to deal with issues. Have maybe a form that is anonymous, so people can leave anonymous comments about what's going on, so that the institution knows what's going on, and then maybe will be more prone to do things. If it's anonymous, they can say what they need to say.
Yes. So Claudia, we've been talking about ending gender-based violence for years. Can you tell me what are some concrete things to help move that forward?
I think we have to look at two levels when we're thinking about how to concretely end gender-based violence, especially in STEM spaces. I think there's two levels. First is institution-wide. As a person who was a PhD student, I don't have the power necessarily to change the institution and how it works independently, right? So I think the institution itself needs to be the one working on that. Secondly is, on a personal level, is when you see acts of gender-based violence happening in the lab, at work, say something. Don't be a passive bystander. Of course, if it's safe for you, because if it's not safe, then don't intervene. But there's different ways you can deal with these situations. And I think starting to take a personal stance and tell people when things are not going right. Also, if you see something incorrect happening, being vocal about it. I think those are small actionable steps that people can take on a day-to-day basis.
Yes. And what are the hardest conversations you think institutions are shying away from?
Definitely what the consequences are for the people who are doing incorrect things. I think they're scared, number one, to put in place consequences, because a lot of the times, if there's something going wrong and the issue is being taken care of, it means maybe the project's going to end, maybe the funding's going to end, maybe the student that was working on that project will no longer be able to, and then there are consequences to consequences. But I think the point of accountability and the point of keeping your constituents safe is having consequences. So I think they actually shy away from the conversations because they don't want to put them into action.
Yes. Have you ever witnessed a moment of allyship in STEM spaces?
Actually, yes. So in my lab, we had an undergrad student come in for a summer. We were a very women-heavy lab. We were like 11 girls and 2 guys. And the one undergrad came in and he was like hitting on every single girl. If one girl said no, he would move to the next, making inappropriate comments about our clothing and things like that. And after a few weeks of that, we had a male postdoc, so kind of in an authority position, talk to him. He took him aside and he said, "This is inappropriate. You cannot treat the women in our lab like this. It's supposed to be a safe space." And I think it made all of us feel extremely safe. Like, we knew somebody was rooting for us, and it wasn't just us saying like, "Hey, don't do that." It was somebody from the outside stepping in, which I think was monumental.
Yes.
And in the end, the student actually just kept going and was later removed from the lab. So my PI actually made consequences for the student. And so I think that too was a real moment of allyship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you think the role of men plays in these spaces?
So I think a good example of this is like when you're at a bar, let's say, and you get hit on as a girl, and you get hit on by, let's say, a man, and you say, "No, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested." But as soon as you say, "Hey, I have a boyfriend," or "I have a fiance," all of a sudden you feel safer and the person leaves. So I think if men are playing a large role in saying, "Hey, what you're doing right now is wrong," man to man, it's unfortunate, but I do think that it's almost even more powerful than a woman saying, "Hey, what you're doing to me is not right." And I think, first of all, there's an issue in itself of that, but I think it really shows that allyship is important in moving forward.
100%. Yes. Okay. So what does a future look like for you where there's no gender-based violence?
Safe. I think it just looks like people are not scared to walk into work. I think there's going to be more innovation because nobody's scared to share their thoughts. Nobody's going to be talked over in meetings, for example. There'd be a safe space to share ideas. I really just believe it's going to feel safe. It's more feeling than what it looks like, I think.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of those brilliant responses.
No problem.
Can you share how we can stay in contact with you?
For sure. You can follow me on Instagram at c.belliveau.science.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.